Hello, everyone. I'm Emily.
And I'm Hannah.
And we are the hosts of the I Don't Think So podcast. Each episode, we discuss a different story, theory, or mystery and decide if we think it's believable or if we really don't think so.
Here at the I Don't Think So podcast, we are affiliated with Flurry Sports, and we present our theories on your favorite place to listen to podcasts every Wednesday. If you like what you hear, definitely like and share our show and follow us on our socials at I Don't Think So _EH. Or check out our YouTube channel at IDTS Conspiracies.
Woohoo! Welcome to July.
Oof, duh.
This is like the meat of summer. Like June and August are the bread. This is the meat.
We have hit the ham.
We've hit our turkey.
The hot dog.
Perfect. Would you say hot dog's a sandwich?
Yeah, meat and bread.
I feel like it's a category all its own.
I mean, yes. But like at the same time, like if you're talking about like hot dogs and hamburgers definitely sandwich.
But they're never included. Like if you look
Yes,
at
they
a menu,
are.
if you look at a menu when you go into a restaurant,
It's like
always
burgers
like
and sandwiches.
it's like sandwiches and then burgers. It's one category.
Not always though.
A lot of the time.
I still think it qualifies as a sandwich.
I think they're their own. I think they're under the barbecue category, like a sloppy Joe or a
sandwich.
no
Barbecue.
pulled pork sandwich. No. I think they're 4th of July. Like that's what those are.
It's just a 4th of July food.
Oh, like a corn dog. Is a corn dog a sandwich?
No.
Fried delicacy.
I'm not a corn dog gal.
Oh, I haven't had one in a while. Used to love them. They're kind of sweet.
That's what I don't like about
The
it.
sweetness.
I'm not like a sweet with meat person usually.
Mm-hmm.
Not always, but I don't like cornmeal either. Like I don't like cornbread.
Oh, see, love cornbread.
Mm-hmm.
Big fan. Okay. Anyways.
What a great way
to open up. You can let us know if you also think a hot dog is a sandwich. Okay. And if you were going to put burgers, would you put them under sandwiches or
I feel like if you don't
of their
think
own?
a hot dog is a sandwich, you are unpatriotic.
I put ketchup on it, red, white, blue.
I hate it. Okay.
Well, anyways, this is fun. This is our conspiracy, I guess. We're going to talk about pop culture, conspiracies, again, kind of tying us back to our olden days of where we talk about conspiracies every single week and thought if they were believable or not. And I thought of this probably a month ago. And I don't remember what story. I was like, oh, I have to tell Hannah about it. And then I didn't because I was like, oh, I can make it into our theme. Couldn't tell you what I was looking at anymore. So had to go on the Google today.
Okay. I remember, I think the story you were going to tell me about. You told me about it last week, I think.
Which one?
The Jaclyn Hill makeup stuff.
Maybe it was that. That's not what we're talking about today.
Perfect. We'll bring that up next time.
Perfect. What do you know about Lady Gaga?
I mean,
What don't I know about Lady
there's
Gaga?
lots of rumors about her.
Mhm.
But I would say mostly she kind of like grew in fame in my like middle school era.
Mhm.
A little Bad Romance,
Paparazzi.
Paparazzi,
Poker Face.
oh, Just Dance.
Oh.
Oh, so good. I remember I have a clear, distinct memory of us listening to Lady Gaga on our boombox downstairs in our grandparents' basement with our cousins and like dancing along.
Poker
Face, poker face. I remember that. I also remember she had a lot of interesting choices of like fashion in the beginning, like the meat suit.
That's so iconic.
It is.
I think she will never live that singular outfit down.
No, but then she kind of like mellowed out. I feel like after what's the movie? Star is Born. After A Star is Born, she kind of chilled out, I feel like.
Yeah. I remember when they talked about having her in that cast, I was like, meat suit lady?
Yes. But she did, she has an amazing voice, all that. But I feel like she's pretty chill now.
Yeah, pretty toned down. Well, what if I tell you this conspiracy all revolves around her being a murderer?
Oh, never
killing
heard that.
someone off and taking their career.
So, is this like a Melissa Avril Lavigne thing?
Yeah. So, basically, the question is all about, did she kill off a young collaborator and steal her identity?
Jeez.
So, these rumors started back on October 25th in 2008 on Yahoo Answers.
Perfect.
And it says, quote, I saw a TV show that was dedicated to Lena Morgana. I was not aware of her death. What happened to her? End quote, wrote a user named Lori W. after seeing a 2008 episode of Celebrity Ghost Stories on which Morgana was featured. Quote, her MySpace page said she died tragically on October 4th, 2008. I cannot find an article or an obituary for her. She was so young and talented. 5 days later, the same question would pop up on a forum on, quote, findadead.com.
Oh.
I don't know why that's... I don't know. Oh, find a death. Excuse me.
A dead.
Find a dead. I'm taking creative, what's that called? Intellectual property over that. So
claiming it as your intellectual property.
There absolutely. You can pay me for that. If you would like. This site's dedicated to exploring celebrity deaths. 2 months later on mydeathspace.com.
Jeez.
Which is a forum site tracking the social media accounts of people who are now deceased. A poster wanted to know, how could an up-and-coming singer die tragically without any outlets ever covering it?
I mean, I've never heard of her.
Well, I've heard of her last name before, but today her story or her name and story can be found all over the darker corners of the internet, but it's...
See, that's where
I don't lurk there very frequently.
No.
But it's the My Death Space thread that has lasted the longest, beginning in October 2008 and continued on until about like 2015.
Jeez.
Over those 7 years and about 550 posts, users dug up personal information about Morgana and her family and hypothesized about the circumstances surrounding her death. It was continued well past the discovery that Morgana had died of an apparent suicide, having jumped from the roof of a 10-story hotel in Staten Island.
Wow.
On September 26th in 2015, user Allison Worthington linked to a Supreme Court order revising a ruling that found the hotel guilty of her wrongful death, adding that this puts at least a couple of conspiracy theories to rest. So for a long time, they were very secretive about how she died.
Gotcha.
And then it kind of came out that she committed suicide, or so it was called. But then someone sued them, sued the hotel for a wrongful death, and won.
That's weird.
But then that case got appealed, and then finally the Supreme Court overturned it.
Weird.
And so now the hotel was not guilty.
Right.
But conspiracy theories had spread far beyond the scope of this fringe site for kind of just people being curious and feeling like things were being kept under wraps. And a court document couldn't possibly enough to silence them. You can find them all over the place, varying slightly based on who wrote it. Depending on who you listen to, Lena Morgana was a real person, but her death was faked, or she did jump off that roof, but it was because she was under psychic control of the Illuminati.
Oh.
But the most common theory by a long shot is still tweeted within consistency, and it's written up as recently as November 2016, is that she was murdered by Lady Gaga.
Not my Lady G.
Yeah. A disclaimer, I don't know if I believe this conspiracy theory. Maybe we're jumping to the end here. I don't know if I believe Lady Gaga actually killed anybody.
But you never know.
But I don't think she's ever killed anyone.
No, I don't think so either.
But Lena Morgana was 19 years old at her time of death, and she was an up-and-coming singer, model, and actress with what appeared to be a very promising career ahead of her. She'd recently signed with Sony and was working with kind of pre-Lady Gaga.
Gotcha.
Lady Gaga and producer Rob Ferrasi. Some of Morgana's music videos, live performances, and behind-the-scenes studio footages are available on YouTube. And you can still see she still has a fan base, and actually it continues to grow.
Cool.
On other local coverage, which didn't reveal her identity, there really wasn't much news about or press surrounding her death. So mydeathspace.com is built on the assumption that a large swath of users want to explore social media profiles of the dead. So think Michael Jackson or Elvis didn't have social media. Too far gone. Add to this kind of a beautiful young singer who she had like a very strong, very throaty voice, who it appeared to be just a really sad end. It's hardly surprising that people started to speculate, but the leap from Lena Morgana died mysteriously to Lena Morgana was killed by Lady Gaga. It's kind of a big leap.
Big jump.
Mm-hmm. So how do we get there? So if you were to like search their names, so Lena Morgana and Lady Gaga on Twitter, you likely won't need to go back even to a week to find someone talking about the murder.
Crazy.
There's so many tweets that it would be impossible to separate the like earnest from ironic.
Sure.
So it was established to have settled kind of more from like memes than anything. But attempts to engage with Twitter users and Facebook commenters, it's hard to kind of talk through and piece it out. If you're to believe the music industry is Illuminati run, you're probably not going to like think this is too big of a jump.
Right. So they're kind of into some shady stuff.
Mm-hmm. So it would be noted that Lena Morgana was a massively talented rising star, and Stephanie, Lady Gaga, met her and was apparently to become her backup dancer or take on a lesser role behind her. Lena, according to eyewitnesses, was happy and dancing on the roof of a hotel or building of some sort, then around lunch, hurled herself to her death. 2 weeks later, Lady Gaga starts her meteorite, like, huge rise.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to try and say that word. Nearly all styles of Lady Gaga that she uses today would actually stem from Lena's styles. So
weird.
If you look back at kind of the music videos from Lena, she was this big personality. Mm-hmm. Again, you're talking that big throaty voice that you come to characterize with Lady Gaga, the weird eccentric outfits, the dancing, the kind of individuality, which we all know now to be part of Lady Gaga. So someone would connect this to Lady Gaga's use of Illuminati symbology. But he also says that this connection isn't new. In fact, a bulk of the conversation about Lena Morgana came with a lot of the Illuminati
stuff anyway. Yeah.
So basically the whole reason that people think Lady Gaga killed her is that she was a rival in the business. And instead of having that like competition, recognizing that, she would have to fight and claw her way to someone very similar to her, she killed her off and then
try to take her fan
materialized a little bit into her. So a lot of it seems to me like hocus pocus, baloney.
Well, and I think it's fair to say, like, if she was already studying under this like person that was successful, up and coming, things like that, after this person passes away, to then say like, oh, I'm going to adopt some of these like characteristics or follow in her footsteps and things like that, to then also become successful, but doesn't necessarily mean that she had a part in her death, but still uses her talents and her ideas to then become successful herself. You know what I mean?
So it never was really like, obviously, as I said, like, her death wasn't really well publicized or researched or studied, so that left a lot of speculation, even into regards of like kind of the whys, I guess, of behind why she committed suicide. On the other end of the spectrum, there is kind of, you can call it a conspiracy that would completely like be the opposite coin.
Sure.
The one I just shared. And it's that Rob Fusari was not a good dude. Like, in real life, not good.
Okay.
And Gaga has talked about it some,
right?
But like really never revealed the name of the person who like essayed her. But it is believed that it would be this Rob Fusari. So both Gaga and Lena worked under him.
So like he potentially could have had a role in her death too.
Yeah. So some people are speculating that like if he was a creep, which it sounds like he was, kind of very much like a Harvey Weinstein sort of thing, using his power over folks, that it kind of led her to feel like she had no way out.
Right.
some could speculate that Rob kind of forced Lena's persona into Gaga because a lot of people of that school like went to say that Gaga stole her look, including Lena's family, and then like would dispose of Lena. But you can look at Gaga when she was 18 and look at Lena, and they look similar.
Similar, yeah.
They look like similar people. But it is kind of weird because Lena was supposed to debut her album shortly before she passed away. And she died just weeks before the album ever came out.
Oofta.
So it is very
eerie
and speculative. Doesn't sound like it was well looked into, but there are people involved who could technically have had a hand in it. So sources would say that Gaga and Lena weren't ever really close. They were more like coworkers who just wrote songs together. When Lena died, and it was close to Gaga's apartment in that hotel that she jumped off.
Didn't help the story.
Didn't help the story. There's an investigation, but obviously, like Gaga wasn't connected at all. She did end up taking kind of inspiration from Lena in some major things early in her career. But again, she worked under Ferrasi, so it's hard.
Some of it could have been pushed onto her as well.
It's hard to say, like, when you're an up-and-coming star and your producer's telling you, you're going to do this. It's kind of hard to be like,
she's stealing everything. Yeah. And, like, you can easily blame her even when it's not her decision.
Yeah. So that's my fun little conspiracy for you. I was so shocked because I was like, pop culture conspiracies. And they're like, Gaga's a murderer. I was like, not my lady.
That's crazy. Well, and especially because I've never heard of that. But at the same time, I'd never heard of this other woman. So, like.
Lena Morgana. Yeah, she died too young. She had an incredible voice. I've heard some of her.
That's too bad.
She's beautiful, like she would have been a world-renowned singer. You know what I mean? But like, just too much taken from this world too soon.
When I feel like sadly in like our world today, there's a lot of like talented people that miss their shot because of sad things that happen to them.
Yeah, for sure. So it's one of those conspiracies. There was also so much Illuminati stuff. When you dig anywhere into pop culture,
I feel like everything is somehow tied back to the Illuminati, which is just insane to me.
Like, I wasn't going to touch the whole Beyonce stuff with a 10-foot pole. You can.
So it's just too many layers.
But it's like, people are breaking down her kids' names into acronyms. Like, Blue Ivy's supposed to stand for something. Like, something where, like, she's the princess of the Illuminati. And then they had twins to fulfill. And I was like, yeah, I don't mean to, maybe I'm naive. I don't think the Illuminati exists.
Really?
You think it exists?
I don't know if it's like exists how it's like necessarily portrayed, right. But I do think there is definitely some like underworkings of like celebrities being in cahoots together to hold power over each other. And like help the people they want to help get into fame.
True. That I can see. But that to me is more like nepotism and shit.
Yes. I feel like I see it more like that rather than like these like lizard people.
Lizard people with a third eye and they raise like minors to power. Yeah. I also think like the celebrity world's got a lot of issues, right?
Right. And so I feel like there has to be some truth within all of these lies and like conspiracies and things like that. So there's definitely like some shady people doing some shady stuff and like taking advantage of children and
Drake.
Well, I'm saying like think about like the whole Quiet Behind Set like documentary. You think about, you hear of all these child stars having so many horrific instances. Yeah, that like there's obviously people that are being protected that shouldn't be. Right. For money and power and fame. So
it's a mess. But yeah, no, I was like, I feel like the Beyonce stuff is insane.
Well, and what's hard too is like it's hard to keep track of everything because at one point you're like, oh, it's this because of the Illuminati, but then the next time it's like, no, that's her trying to rebel.
That's actually her kicking against the Illuminati.
And yeah, I'm like, oh, and then her and Jay-Z are the head of it, and I'm like, they're not that old. Like, we can't sit and act like the Illuminati's that's young, like that young of an organization that now Beyonce and Jay-Z are the ones in charge.
I know. Or and it's a mess. It's just a mess in general. It was like Illuminati or Scientology, and I was like, I don't really
Oh,
know if I want to go down either. Because I mean, Scientology's real life cult.
Oh my gosh. Did I ever tell you it was like my freshman year of college? And that was when the whole like Leah Remini Scientology documentary came out. And then Scientology was trying to get people to join. So like take this test online to see like what skills you should work on. You know what I mean? And I'm like, love me a BuzzFeed
I love a BuzzFeed quiz.
And so I fill out this like 100 question. It was me and all of my like friends in college. We like filled out this 100 questions because we thought it was gonna be like BuzzFeed or like Tiger Beat. Like, what skills do I need to work on? And then
it's like an Enneagram.
Yes, so you get through it and you get to the end and they're like, come to our office to get the results. And I'm like, I'm not that stupid.
No.
But I'm really disappointed that
I
just spent the last 30 minutes of my life filling out this questionnaire. And now I don't even know what my results are. Mm. And they have an office in Minneapolis.
I know they do. I've drove past it. And every time I'm like, ah!
And like part of me.
I'm too broke to be in Scientology.
Well, part of me is like, I could go and just get my results and leave.
But like, what if they mind trap me somehow?
I'm not going to get sucked in. But at the same time, then I'm scared.
I just don't want them to call me.
On one hand, I didn't have to put my phone number into anything, which is honestly smart.
Yeah, but if you go, you can't tell me you're not filling out a form when you walk in.
I wonder what would happen if you just rolled up. Like, hey.
I don't think anything.
Just thought I'd like decide to join, and did they bring you in some weird office, like a car dealership, and you're like sitting there for hours
and you're haggling,
or like the doctor's office, you're like sitting in the waiting room.
Emily, your eternal soul comes next. Come on in, and it's like,
you know,
I don't want to be here anymore.
I feel like it would have dentist office vibes.
Dentist office, but like, I feel like it'd be like. Not even dentist office. It'd be like walking in. Have you ever gone? You have. It's like one of those not trying to shit talk anybody. Non-denominational churches. And you're trying to go get the coffee.
Yes.
Like you're in a gymnasium.
Yes.
And like 8 people surround you at once. And
yes.
And they're like, I'm so happy you're here. And they're all very nice, but it feels like an undercurrent of like, I don't know if I'm safe.
There's this one time that Dan and I went. I went to 2 different ones when we were up at school in college, and the first one was nice. It was fine. Whatever. It was a little weird, and then I remember thinking like, oh, you can go buy coffee at our coffee shop and then bring it into church with you.
Isn't that nice?
It's nice, but at the same time, it felt wrong.
And I was a Catholic. I'm like, you're letting me.
Well, in my head, I'm like, we can't have anything in our bodies before we take communion. You're supposed to eat breakfast.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I think it's an hour.
Oh, I thought never ate breakfast before. Maybe because I just didn't wake up in time. That's fine.
Wake up an hour before church? Absolutely not.
No. But then the other one we went to, it's honestly, the other one felt more normal in the beginning.
Yeah.
Like rolled up, got there, super chill, smaller. So I feel like that's where it felt a little bit more normal too, because it wasn't this like ginormous
mega church, basically.
Mega church thing. And like the pastor was fine, like did a little spiel, and we're like, oh, like that's all it is. And they're like, no, the band's gonna play. So the pastor did like a spiel for like 30 minutes. And that was like it. Like that was like mass was done, we thought, right?
Wrong.
Then the band starts to play. And this is where we started to like lose us. At first, Dan's like, this is great.
It's like a rock concert.
The rock concert. Dan's into it. And I
get it. Their music hits.
And I'm just like looking around because people are sobbing.
And you lost me.
And I'm like, it's just not my thing. Like anyone I feel like who is that dramatic about things in public is just like you lose me on your believability. And there's someone kneeling at the front, arms spread open and like shaking, sobbing, screaming along. And I'm like, if you know all the words, you've seen this too many times. That goes on, I'm not kidding, for like an hour. And we're like, we need to go. Like, I've been here now for an hour and a half. And there was like this other group of like college-aged kids in front of us. We're like, maybe this is their first time too. And then we're like, hey, like, do you know when this is gonna be done?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, we haven't had mass yet.
Huh? What do you mean?
And I'm like, I got here at 9. It's now almost 11.
What do you mean you haven't had mass
What
yet?
do you mean mass doesn't start? Well, mass doesn't start till noon.
Huh?
And I said, what? It's at 9 a.m. on the thing. Oh, no, that's like the pre-mass prayer. Then we do the...
You do the 30-minute prayer?
Music until noon. From like 9:30 to noon. And then from noon to like 3 is mass. And I said, when are we supposed to eat? And they're like, oh no, you fast all day long. And then you get to leave at like 5 o'clock. And then usually we all go out to supper then together. But youth group they have like a college age youth group. So like, you should just stay and you can come. And then sometimes we order pizzas and stuff. Or sometimes we just stay out late afterwards and just go eat after. And I'm like, no,
I'm actually leaving now.
I'm leaving right now. And I remember leaving and thinking, you know, I might not love all of my previous church experiences, but we are in and out in an hour, baby.
I'm not staying
all day. The Packers are on.
I have things to do. I've got places to be, things to eat, man. But yeah, we had this one.
So we literally snuck out, and there's like people trying to like stop us. We haven't started mass yet, and I'm like, we're done.
I've already been here for my mass.
I'm cashing out.
I'm counting it. We went to this one, and I went there a few times, and I really liked it the first couple times. Mm-hmm. Yeah, starts with a concert. Like this hits every time. And then they do their mass, and then it ends with like another 10 minutes of music.
Yeah,
and so it was like an hour, wasn't it?
That's not bad.
Anything crazy, but it was huge.
It's kind of the other one was shorter. It's probably like an hour-ish, maybe a little over, but it was like huge. It's kind of intimidating.
Like I was like
mega church. Arena.
There's like 500 people here. I'm from a small town Catholic church where if we get 60 people, it's a crowd.
Yeah. You see so-and-so brought their grandkids this week?
Yeah. And I'm like, and people all have notebooks. And I'm like,
what are we writing now?
What are we writing? I didn't know I was supposed to bring pen and paper. I didn't know there was supposed to be a class.
Yeah.
But anyways, like, and then the one pastor said some really hateful stuff, and I was like, I'm never coming back.
And you lost me.
You had me. I'm gone. Yeah. And it was a school too, so that it was like, it was this unbelievably. They had valet parking because it was so
Holy
big.
Cow!
And I was like, I will park my own car.
I don't trust any of you with my minivan.
With Big Red, okay?
You don't have the touch to get her to go.
Her muffler sounds like it's falling off. It is, but leave her alone.
She's trying her best.
She is.
No judgment here.
Oh my God. Speaking of Big Red, she's probably near her final days. She runs great, except for now I keep getting this warning light that flashes. And I'm pretty sure it means the airbags are faulty.
Oh,
no. And then there's a little sign that says airbag off, and I'm like,
airbag off?
Yeah, it says BAC. It doesn't say bag. So I'm like, listen.
Is it brakes?
No. I don't think so.
You might want someone to look at it.
I just got my oil change, and he said, looks great. But I'm like, yeah, so the light's flashing now, and I'm like, just don't get in a crash, it'll be fine.
Or someone else hit you. They give you some insurance money.
Except for, like, you can total that car, and I'm going to get 2 raspberries and a nickel.
Yeah, that's true. They'll actually make you pay them for their damage.
You're like, you still have to pay for the tow.
No kidding. Duh.
Pay for the tow at our time.
What a great way to start the beginning of July.
Yeah. Woohoo!
Definitely, if you like what you hear, like, subscribe to our show. Make sure you download. I heard like Apple Music or Apple Podcasts doesn't automatically download your shows anymore unless you select it.
Oh,
so make sure you're doing that.
Yeah.
And check out the other Flurry Sports shows.
Sure. I know Zach and Jake are doing some weird every other
week thing. Slackers.
Lazy.
We'll probably take a break at some point.
But we don't do halfsies. We're either here or we're gone.
We're here or we're gone. I feel like we'll probably make it through July and then take like a month off.
Probably.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. You never know.
We'll update you when we decide.
We go week by week at this point.
Oh, 100%. But we'll see you all next week.
Bye.